fully playable on my.
Well, we should definitely talk about that too.
My cheap ass little tablet that I bought.
All right, we're live.
Works really, really well.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm actually 100% blown away. I didn't think it would work very well at all. Morning, all.
Yeah, hey everybody. A bunch of people already here. You guys are fantastic. Hey Kodiak, what's up, man? Hey Sarah, Night Razor, Justin, Matthew. Oh, not Siri. All right, Sarah, I'm not talking to you anymore because it makes my phone go off. All right.
I want to check the...
What's up?
I'm just talking to myself.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I'm going to start super hot again. Super hot.
I wish that I could turn off that part when they're showing me the stuff that we'll talk about it in the show.
Okay.
Are you ready to start?
Yeah, we can start.
Okay.
I was just popping in real quick to see if I could adjust my resolution on this tablet.
Oh, and can you?
So I don't know. It's checking your connection as it's trying to load the game. So I don't know.
Let's wait.
Eventually, I'm sure.
We'll wait and see if it works. Because I'm curious.
The touchpad controls are so horrible.
Of course they are.
But it's better than not having a controller. So.
God, that is like almost impossible to read.
Oh yeah, that is really tough to read.
Okay, well, luckily I already know who that person is. So, Jem, thank you very much for the support, and Joel Thompson, thank you for the the super chat. I couldn't remember what that thing was called.
Super chat. Super chat.
That's awesome.
Oh, game might stop. Save your game to avoid losing progress and check your Stadia connection. I can't see where I would set my resolution. So let's.
So you gotta tap on your you. I think you don't set it in game. You set it in the UI before you launch the game, and that's through your avatar and then settings.
Yeah, that was my problem. Is I went into the game and then realized that's not something that you could do. Okay, so performance. Ah, there we go. Up to 720p. Let's save it at 720p. It'll probably play a lot better at 720p.
Right, because you got that's like one of the super cheap Fire tablets, right?
Yeah, it's the 2019 Fire 10 tablet. And it seems to work okay. I can get it on camera without having all my lights glowing.
Mm-hmm.
It actually looks really good.
Hey, Kodiak, we're doing okay.
Huh. Well, this might actually be a usable Stadia gaming device.
Now that it's not
right now.
Side loaded or whatever it is, like kludged together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was lower because I was chatting off my mic like this. You have to have the mic right in your mouth for it to actually work.
Hang on. Somebody said Bill's mic. Where the heck? Lloyd's volume is a bit lower than Bill's, or maybe I'm just going deaf. Bill's audio has a weird echoing sound. Okay. Let me see if I can fix that. So can you still hear me, Lloyd?
I can.
No, he can't hear me. Okay.
I can. Yes.
So you heard me say, "Can you still hear me, Lloyd?"
Yes.
Oh, okay. So you can still hear me now. Okay.
Yes.
You can still hear me. Why is my mic? This is what happens when you don't back things up and you break things. I have no idea. I don't know what to do. Especially because I can't hear it.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
Oh, okay. Okay. Because I was saying yes before and you weren't hearing it.
But they're saying, oh, so people are saying that it's fine.
It could be that when you were talking before, my headphones are right by the microphone. So maybe my microphone is picking part of you up when I was off mic before.
Okay. Everybody says that it sounds fine, so I'm going to assume that it sounds fine. Minimize that. All right.
Record a little bit of your audio in Reaper and play it back and see if you hear any sort of.
Oh, that's a good idea. So I'm recording, I'm saying all of the things, and now I'm going to stop. And it should be fine because I recorded Switchcraft yesterday. I'm recording, I'm saying all of the things.
Yeah, then it should be fine.
Yeah, that sounds fine.
You love the dinosaur has a cape? Yeah, it's Super Dino.
Oh, look at that. Somebody got Super Dino. By the way, if you look up on the top, right now, it's like there's a little rotating feed. And it says that Ray Sherrod is the dino. And that's because he has the biggest super chat this week.
Interesting.
And I was like, oh, that's cool. So I set that up and I thought, oh, people would enjoy that. So Ray Sherrod is the dinosaur until somebody beats him out. All right. I think we're ready. Are you ready?
Yeah, I think so.
There's a tiny bit of white noise in the background. Okay, I'm going to shut off the music, Lloyd. I want you to tell me if you hear anything.
Nothing. But it's your gate is triggering because I heard something and then it disappeared.
Oh, so can you hear if I can you hear a white noise in the background when I am? Huh?
Yeah, when you're talking, it's like.
What is causing this? See, I did back up a picture of my microphone settings, so everything was exactly the same as it was before. Because I ran into that problem before where I had to rebuild everything. But I'm just checking the compressor.
So what's that sound that's happening in your background?
Well, are you still hearing it?
Yeah, whenever you talk, just before the gate shuts off, I hear it. Sounds like a fan or something.
Well, but I've had a fan in this room for years. And here, I'm going to shut the fan off. So now the fan is off. And do you still hear it?
Not really. It's weird. Can you shut your gate off for a second? I just want to see if it happens when your gate is completely off. It might be just something that's happening when your gate is popping up.
Oh, okay. Hold on. The attenuation on my gate is different than it used to be. Why the hell did that happen? I set this the other day. Where's Discord? Discord. I have to look at the picture real quick. Because I have a channel in my Discord that only I can see called Backup Images, and it has screenshots of my GoXLR settings. Yeah, my noise gate is completely messed up. All right, so attenuation, we'll set that back down to 33%. All right. So, how is it now?
Oh, way better.
Yeah? Okay, so that's what it was. Let me turn my fan back on, because otherwise I'll melt in here. I am a delicate flower that needs the perfect temperature. And we're not on Twitch, so you can't clip that. Haha.
Damn it. Good thing I record everything that comes across my Discord.
All right. How's it sounding now, Lloyd?
It's way better than it was.
Okay. That's irritating that changed. I don't know why that happened. All right. Well, let's close that and minimize that. Let's make a podcast. Or at least attempt to.
But do you have music playing right now?
No, why?
I was wondering if maybe that's what it was. It was maybe picking up some of the music.
Why are you hearing it again?
Every once in a while I get a little bit of it, but I think it's fine.
All right. Okay, where's the button? Here's the button. That's not the right button. Delete all. Oh, and by the way, everybody, if you did not know, I'm not going to have the intro music and everything on the show today because, I mean, it'll be in the podcast, but I broke things. That'll teach you not to break things, Bill. All right, we're recording. Are you ready?
I am.
Okay. I don't know how to start the show without the music. What do I usually say?
Words, and then I wait for you to say my name, and then I speak. Is usually how it goes.
Yeah, you don't even pay attention. Lloyd is just phoning it in, everybody. All right, here we go. Hey, everybody, welcome back to Stadiacast. It is June 14th, and this is episode 62, and we've got a whole bunch of Stadia news to talk about. I'm Bill. That's Lloyd. What's going on, Lloyd?
Not much, man. It's I've been off gaming for pretty much a whole entire week because of some issues, and it's nice to actually be in my studio holding a controller talking about video games again, because it's been a very long time since I've even thought of video games. So this is gonna be fun. There's some amazing news this week, so I can't wait to get right into it.
So you haven't had a chance to play anything at all this week?
Played a little bit before everything happened. I was getting in and playing some Power Rangers because you said how much you enjoy Power Rangers as a video game. So I jumped right into it and played, and it's really good. I'm playing through the story mode. So I love how you take control of a good guy and then a bad guy and then a alternate reality guy or girl. And it's actually really fun. I miss the fact that there's no quarter circle forward, A button, throw fireball moves. It's all just directions and buttons. But I got used to it pretty quick, and it's a heck of a lot of fun as a free fighting game, or free in air quotes fighting game. It's pretty decent.
Yeah, I really like that game. We'll have to I don't know, do a tournament or something at some point with the community. Good. All right, before we get started on the news, and really, we're not going to talk too much about what we've been playing this week because there is a mountain of news. Excuse me. But before we get started, we do record the show live. If you want to come and see the show live, then join us Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern over at youtube.com/Stadiacast. If you're looking for ways to support the show and you're here with us live, you can use the super chat feature to make absolutely sure that we will see your message, and we will reply to each and every super chat that comes in at the end of the show or at the second half of the show, which we call crowd play. If you're not here live and you want to find a way to support us, there is a join button just below the video that gets you access to early videos sometimes, as well as access to a channel on our Discord channel, which is over at runjumpstomp.com/Discord. All right, so we already kind of talked about what we've been playing. We've got tons and tons of news to talk about. Let's start with the This Week in Stadia blog post from the official blog post. And there's a lot of stuff on here. So Lloyd, why don't you take us through some of this stuff that they've thrown at us?
Sure. Well, they reminded us of all the free games, of course. That's a quick, easy, hey, look, 5 games with the number 6 coming up really soon. Was really great. They talk about the 1 month of Stadia Pro. They were giving 2 months away. Now they're giving 1 month away. But then they get into the really interesting stuff, that being you can play on more OnePlus devices. You can play on more Android phones. You can play on all these amazing Android devices, including what I have here, which is this little Amazon 2019 Fire 10 tablet. So I immediately went into it and checked it out. And if you go into your little settings and you go all the way down to experiments, you can turn on this little tab or this little toggle that says play on this device. And when you do that, I can jump into games like Superhot right on my tablet, and it actually plays really well. I bought this tablet originally because I needed a small Android tablet. I want to check out projects the Xbox xCloud, the Microsoft streaming platform, and it was supported by this device. So I picked up this tablet because I needed a small Android tablet anyway, so it was kind of perfect. But then Stadia wouldn't run, so I was able to sideload the Stadia app and get all that stuff going. And now I can actually play on the device with on-screen controls on my Android tablet, and it works way better than the side-loaded version of Chromium with the kind of like hacked support for Stadia. It works really, really well. I played through a level of Superhot, and it actually worked, which to me was super surprising because I thought this device would be useless for Stadia. So I have to dig into it a little bit more, of course, but I really, really dig it. I hate on-screen controls. I love the fact that they exist on this device for people that maybe have a phone and they want to just go in and do some crafting in ESO, or they want to play something else that maybe isn't super reliant on good controls, we'll say. But the fact that it's there is super exciting to me. I was wondering when they would turn that switch on, and we talked about it a couple episodes ago. It's like, Google, just let us play, but let us know that it's a beta or an experiment, and it'll be fine. And then a couple weeks later it shows up. So we need to start asking more things of Google, because apparently that stuff kind of happens sometimes.
Yeah. In addition to that, you can also change your resolution on a Chromecast Ultra device now. So if you've got a Chromecast Ultra and it's hooked up to, let's say, a 1080p TV, you can open up the Stadia menu, you can go to Options, Performance, and then you can say, this device is going to go up to 1080p. And then you can have a Chromecast Ultra on your 4K TV in the other room, and you can say, this device goes up to this resolution. And maybe you are trying to manage bandwidth in your house or something. So you can say, all right, Jimmy's TV downstairs, that one is going to get the 720p and mine is going to get the 4K or whatever. Right. You get to manage your devices now, and it's on a per device basis. You can also do this on laptops and phones, and just like right before we started recording, Lloyd was doing that on the tablet that he was just using, the Amazon Fire 10. Yeah.
The 2019 Amazon Fire 10 Pro or whatever they call it. And yeah, I went into it. I bumped my resolution down to 720p. It still looked absolutely fantastic on this little tablet screen. And there's going to be less bandwidth, so there's less likely of dropouts and weird hitching because of that. So I'm going to have to spend some more time with this and play a little bit more. But this might be a really good solution for me to play games that aren't in this room. Because I don't often have my Chromecast hooked up to any other device except the monitor that's right in front of me. So I'm really looking forward to messing around with this. Really good, just random addition from Google to make things way more functional on a lot of different devices.
I do think that it would, this is a great step in the right direction. I personally would like it better if it was on a per game basis, because we've all experienced it. I was playing Borderlands 3 this week a little bit. I don't even know why. I just felt like playing it out or playing it. So I think it was because I could change the resolution. So I was changing the resolution and messing around with stuff. And I was like, well, I know that Borderlands 3 runs better at balanced mode. So I can set it at balanced mode. If it would just remember that anytime that I play this particular game, play at balanced mode, I'm fine playing at 1080p instead of 4K if it gives me a higher frame rate for a game like Borderlands 3, where frame rate is really important. For something like Darksiders Genesis, that's not nearly as important. You know, the
Sure.
accuracy is not that big of a deal. So I would love it if they would give us a per game basis, or what would be even better than that is just have a blanket thing that I could go in and say, I want I want you to prefer frame rate over resolution. And just give
Right.
me a little tick box that says prefer resolution or prefer frame rate. And if you did if they did that, then I would be like, okay, your job is done. You don't have to do anything else. I'm super happy with that. Anything that you think that they need to add?
It would be, for me, it would be really awesome is when I'm playing a game and I forgot to set the resolution to 720p because I want 720p on my tablet, that I could just see what the current resolution it's streaming to me at is. So it's currently streaming at 1080p. It has HDR on, and it's 60 frames a second at the source, at the server blade. So then I could go there and I could say, okay, we'll drop that down to 720p, and then we'll see what happens. Like, it'd be nice if you could see the details when you're playing the game, and also modify the details when you're actually in the game. So you could see, like, maybe my Wi-Fi is being assaulted because all my neighbors decided to turn on their microwaves at one time or something. I could then go in there and just drop it down to 720p for the next 15 minutes, see if that got rid of all the weird Wi-Fi issues I'm having, and then bump it back up to 1080p. But there must be something about how the game starts on the blade. Maybe it can't it can't switch anything when it's running. But YouTube being YouTube, or Google having YouTube and the ability to send different resolution streams, it'd be nice if you could even just have the game running at 4K on the server, but then just say, no, just send me a 720p stream of what's happening there. So there's more tweaking that they can do for sure, but this is fantastic for just free features that they just rolled out randomly and put in a blog post. So I'm super excited about what they're giving us, and I can't wait to play a little bit more.
Now, speaking of randomly, they also, everybody who is subscribed to Stadia Pro this month got $10 to spend on the Stadia store. That was very unexpected. I think that this is a great way to get people to understand that you don't have to have Pro, because a lot of people, they sign up for Stadia, they have Pro, and then they never buy games. They just play the Pro games, and then they feel like they're locked into Pro. And I think a vast majority of people who don't know enough about Stadia feel like Pro is required when it's an optional thing. Like, the only thing that Pro gets you is the extra deals, some included games. I don't know why I quoted included, some free games. I put air quotes around the wrong word there. And access to 4K HDR. If you are a majority of your time is spent playing on a 1080p screen, then outside of those deals, Pro doesn't make any sense for you. So them giving people $10, that's going to entice them to buy a game. And then if they're not subscribed to Pro, they still have access to that game that they bought. And now they're going to be like, oh, I don't have to subscribe to Pro. Suddenly the light bulb goes on over their heads, and they understand that Stadia is not a $10 a month subscription unless you want it to be. And I think that that's really great. What do you think about this, Lloyd?
Yeah, no, I think it's really great. They're essentially competing with the Epic Games Store, which has been doing that for a couple times now. They did one, I think, by around Christmas or whatever. They're having some holiday sale, and everyone that has a Epic Games Store account got a free $10 credit. You spend that $10, or you use that credit when you're buying a game to get $10 off, and then they would give you another one. But they would do that for like I think it was a period of like 3 weeks, and then the last credit that you have after that expired would then expire after a couple months. So you keep using it to get $10 off games. If Google can do something like that, I mean, that would be fantastic. If, say, Down the road with Pro, you got $10 every month or every couple months as just a regular thing, a regular benefit of having Pro. It continues to just add the I guess the little details, the little highlights, the detailing on the Pro membership, which you get 4K, you get HDR, you get 5.1, but you also get the access to a game library and then random $10 coupons or other coupons that are going to be coming on top of the sales that you already get access to. So they could keep just layering on this benefit, and that's going to keep more and more people just paying for Pro. Like, there's no reason not to. Let's just keep paying for Pro if we're going to get all these benefits that are going to happen this way. So really exciting to see kind of what Google's doing. They're obviously taking some information from what other stuff that's happening with like Steam sales and with the Epic Games Store, and they're really setting their store up to be a place like that. Hopefully this type of thing continues.
And, you know, Google definitely has the pockets for it. I don't know that I agree that they should do it every month, because then Pro is essentially free. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't be upset if they did it every month. I'd be super happy if they did it every month, but I don't know that that's a really good business decision. I like the idea that it's just randomly, hey, this month we're going to give you $10. Oh, hey, this month we're going to do $5. This month we'll give you $2 off 2 different games or something like that. You know, there's a lot of different ways that they could do it. And I think that they definitely have the deep pockets to be able to pull that off. And they just need to use their money like a cudgel, just like you said, that the Epic Games Store is using all of that Fortnite money, and they're weaponizing it in order to push into the gaming industry. I think that Google should do the same with their buckets and buckets and buckets of cash. All right.
100%. And that's more what I meant. I didn't think that this would be like a $10 thing every month, but they would have specific sales. They'd have their summer of play sales, and then they'd have their fall into savings, and then it's other like keyword worthy sales that they could be doing, and just keep adding these things on top of people. That would be great. And if they make, say, 30% off the sales of games, like a lot of other stores, they wouldn't actually be eating any, or they wouldn't be paying people to use this coupon. They would just be earning less per game that goes out. So I don't know, it could work, and it would be a really great way of rewarding longtime Pro members, but also fostering more support for buying games on the service instead of just using it as a pay $10 for a month, get access to 20 games, and then let it expire, and then come back in a couple months and see what games are available.
Yeah. People in chat they want to make sure that we mention that the $10 off coupon expires at the end of the year. So you do not have to, like, it's not burning a hole in your virtual pocket. You can wait until later on to use it if you aren't sure, like if there's nothing in the store right now that is getting your attention, then you can hold on to it and find out more later. All right, let's move on. Stadia may be getting ready for YouTube integration. This is the thing that we've talked about extensively. I made a video about it earlier this week. Make sure that you check out that video. But YouTube integration is something that, you know, they got up on stage and they said, hey, they're blah, 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 we're going to talk about stuff. And behind them, there was a screen that showed like the Stadia blades, and then a little line that went to you, the player, and then another little line that came out of the same blade that went to YouTube. And we all assumed that meant that we would be live streaming to YouTube when we played if we wanted to. And we've been waiting and waiting and waiting for that, although, you know, it's only been since November that it came out, so maybe we're being ridiculous. I don't know. But Aqua Regia, who is a Discord community member. You should join our Discord if you haven't already, runjumpstomp.com/Discord. They found some very, very interesting stuff in the developer tools in Google Chrome. So this is not something that is hidden away anywhere. Like, you can find this stuff, I believe, by hitting F12 or something like that. I spoke to a developer, and they said that, yes, this is legitimate stuff. This is real. So this stuff is available for people to see. And it says here, oh gosh, it didn't zoom in the way I thought it was going to. It says here, get started by linking your YouTube channel in settings. And then it says, interact with viewers in new ways, enhance your stream with crowd play. And then the next part is covered up. And if you scroll down a little bit, it says you need to leave the game to set up live streaming for the first time. And then it says, use your favorite software. For now, you'll need to use streaming software to live stream in Stadia. So it seems like that's the thing that we're already doing, right? Does that make sense to you, Lloyd?
Yeah, I think so.
But like, so why would they, if that's what we're already doing, using our software, because like right now we're streaming to YouTube and I'm using OBS, and if I want to play a game, I can switch over to a different scene and play a game with Stadia, and it says use your favorite software to live stream on Stadia, and then it talks a little bit about crowd choice on there, which I'll read that to everybody in a second. But why would they bother putting this, like, it on my PS4, it doesn't tell me to use my favorite software. You know what I mean? Why is this in there? What do you think?
Yeah, it's really confusing to me looking at this. There could be a couple different reasons. The first is, say you want to bring what you're playing into your OBS, so that you can then include that in the videos that you're recording and the stream that you're streaming out. Maybe they'll pop up another window that says, hey, here's your small YouTube URL. So it's yout.be/ and then 17 digits or something. Okay. You punch that into a browser source, and then that is a direct stream from YouTube that is going to go into your OBS. Potentially, it could be something like that. Or it could be the other thing that we've asked for, which is you set up your OBS with some sort of features where you are streaming just your face cam and nothing in the background, and then that goes to YouTube, and then they ingest that into your stream on YouTube. So it could be either thing. I don't know if it's either of them, though. To me, it's really confusing. Like, why would you need to set up streaming in external software outside of the game? It's to me, it's really confusing. So I need more information before I can kind of figure out what they're getting at here. But it could be either of those two scenarios potentially.
Yeah. So here's the problem with the scenario A that you just outlined. The problem with that, and if you ask me, it's kind of a big problem. But the problem with that is now I am downloading 2 Stadia streams and uploading a stream to YouTube. That is way worse than just using a capture card to capture. I mean, if I don't have a capture card, then maybe that's a way to do it. But if that's the case, why wouldn't I just capture my window that I'm streaming in? Like, I don't understand if you're going to do it this way where it requires software, the only reason that I can think where that is a good idea is if there is a way where you can just say, this is what I'm sending, put my game into it, like option B that you just mentioned. Option A sounds like a worst case scenario, or actually the worst way to do this out of any other way to do it. It's better to just capture your browser window or capture a Chromecast with a capture card. Like, those two options will use less bandwidth than streaming in this other way where you get the feed in OBS. Now, I say all of that, and maybe they have done, like, you would just play in OBS. So you install, or you get OBS running, or whatever your favorite software is, you put in that link. Now you don't use a browser at all, and you just play in OBS and then you see exactly what your viewers see. That's a possibility, but like right now we have browser sources in OBS and your mouse cannot interact with them. You can't do anything with them. They are just there so that you can see. So I don't know. It's fun to speculate. Yeah, I know you can use a controller, but
yeah,
there's people who want to use mouse and keyboard for stuff. I'm not one of those people, so this is not me talking about what I want. I just think it's a weird thing. The last thing that they did say is that enhance your stream with crowd play and crowd choice to let viewers jump into your game and vote on how the game shifts around you. So that stuff is now included, or not included. That stuff is now shown on the website, or not on the website, in this weird code that Aqua Regia found. I think that this is very, very interesting. Does it mean it's coming tomorrow? No, we have no idea when it's coming. Go ahead, Lloyd. You're getting ready to. He's got his fingers going.
I just thought of this, and this is the message is you'll need to leave the game to set up live streaming for the first time. I wasn't focusing on that first time. So what this message could mean is that you have to use the Google interface, the Stadia interface rather, to set up your live streaming. So maybe it gives you a specific stream key that you use. Also for people like me, where my Stadia account is tied to my personal account, but I don't want to stream on my personal YouTube channel. I want to stream on Res TV or Stadiacast. So maybe that is a way to then link to the proper YouTube channel, set up a specific stream key, set it up for instant streaming. Whenever you turn on streaming on OBS, it fires up a live session on YouTube. Maybe it's something more like that as well. That could be, I guess, option C.
And that makes
a one-time setup thing.
And that makes perfect sense, but I still don't understand where your favorite software comes into the equation. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, I think it's just, here's your stream key, plug that into your OBS settings or your I don't even know what is out there anymore, because the old software I used to use is not there anymore. So I think it's OBS or Slobs or Stream Elements is kind of what people are using these days.
Yeah. All right, let's move on from the content creator stuff, which I always get really excited about because I'm a content creator. But let's move on from that, and real quick, let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about a game that has been announced for Google Stadia, but maybe.
Have you experienced the awesome power of the Panasonic Real 3DO system?
All right, we are back, and IGN has listed System Shock for Google Stadia. System Shock is one of those games I completely missed out on. I never played it back in the day, and it wasn't until I played BioShock that I was like, oh man, these guys are really, like, this game is really, really cool. What else have they made? And they had also made System Shock, but System Shock came out in 1994. So going back to that was like, I think I own it on Steam or something, and I started playing. I was like, oh yeah, I'm not going to play this because it looked real bad. Not because it was bad, but just because it was really, really old, and I had a bunch of new stuff to play. So I ended up not playing it. But it's getting a remake, and it's odd. Stadia hasn't mentioned anything about this. I don't believe that whoever the developers are, which I've forgotten right now, they haven't. It doesn't seem to mention it in the official trailer either. But on IGN's website, they list that it's coming to Windows, Linux, PS4, Xbox One, and Stadia. And it's not the original game, but a remake, which actually looks pretty cool. What do you think about this, Lloyd?
Yeah, so this was unveiled during the Guerrilla Collective Day 1 stream or news info that happened. I guess it's a digital festival that's hosted by Kind of Funny Games' Greg Miller. So that's kind of like a little blurb at the top of it. So System Shock is a remake. I guess it's a remaster, although it's must be a remake because you're not using the original code at all. But anyway, it's a 1994 game, and it's being rebuilt on Unreal Engine 4, and it is listed as coming to Stadia. So when you are running a games festival, you maybe get a little bit more information than other press, and that must be accurate, or at least it was accurate at the time of posting. So that is, I don't know, that's exciting. I played the original System Shock when it first came out. I didn't beat it. It was one of those games where it was just like very cool in the days of like Doom, playing a game that looked a little bit better and had different controls. It reminded me a lot of what my buddies that had Macs were playing of Marathon. It was more marathon-y than Doomy, we'll say. And I really dug it. And the ability to replay that now, after playing all the BioShocks, knowing kind of the crazy world and stuff, I'm really excited to eventually jump into this and check it out on Google Stadia.
Yeah, I think it looks really, really good. I'm excited to play it, and I'm also excited that it's going to look real nice as well. And I like the idea of this weird sci-fi game. I feel like we don't get enough of these sci-fi games that aren't tied to like some kind of license or whatever. All right, moving on. Baldur's Gate 3. Did you watch the trailer for Baldur's Gate 3 or the new thing?
One, I have not watched the new one. I'm in kind of lockdown mode for Baldur's Gate 3. I don't want any spoilers. I don't want any new content. I don't want any new features spoiled for me. I just want to show up day one of early access and just bathe in everything that is Baldur's Gate 3. So I'm on trailer lockdown for this game. I don't want anything to spoil anything for me.
All right. Well, if you're on lockdown like Lloyd, then don't go to runjumpstomp.com and click on the thing, because I've got the trailer there as well as a whole bunch of screenshots from it. Gotta say, gorgeous game. The amount of visual fidelity that has improved from the last time they showed us something to now. Like they did one of those things where they do a wipe across and it shows this is what the footage looked like before, this is what it looked like now. It's really, really improved graphically. Although I'm not super excited about that. I'm more excited about the gameplay. He said that there's a bunch of gameplay stuff that they have been working on and fixed, and they gave us a possible, I love how open they are with this, they gave us a possible release date for early access. Did you see that part, Lloyd?
Yes.
Okay, so when is it?
It is expected to launch into early access this August.
Maybe.
And
they did that directly in the video. Like they were like, early access launches August, and then maybe came up on the screen afterwards. And basically they said, look, we've been pretty affected by COVID, and it's really slowing down everything that we're doing. The big problem, and this is something, I was on an episode of Nintendo, Radio Free Nintendo, and we were talking about how COVID-19 has affected the gaming industry, and what a lot of people haven't really thought about. A lot of people think about devs, and devs have to share dev kits now, and maybe they don't have the hardware at home. You know what a lot of games use these days is motion capture, and they have not been able to do motion capture for Baldur's Gate 3, and that really, really slowed down the development, because that means that they weren't able to get all of this stuff done. And now they are starting to be able to do motion capture again. They showed a quick video where like they're in there wearing their weird mocap suits, and they got masks on to keep them from breathing on each other. So it's definitely slowing things down. And crazy. I would say I'll bet you voice acting is probably another thing that is getting slowed down as well. I know that the person is usually like in a booth or in a booth and everything, but they are also interacting very, very close with a microphone, and I assume that the person then has to like somebody has to come in and clean the microphone afterwards, and that slows. Like, there's all of these things that happen with video games that are going to be delayed because of COVID-19.
Right.
And I like that Larian Studios is being upfront about it and explaining it to everybody rather than hiding in the shadows, like a sneaky, like a dirty, sneaky thief.
Those are the best people, though. You want to be like a dirty, sneaky thief.
All right, moving on. Gods and Monsters, which is a game coming from Ubisoft. That game was demoed last year at E3. Yep. And then earlier this week on the 11th, somehow somebody at Stadia hit the wrong button, and they took that demo and released it for $0 on the Stadia store for I think it was about 30 minutes. Right. It was out there, and Eddie Gomez, who's also a Stadia creator, he was able to capture some footage, and he posted it to his Twitter timeline. And I'm not going to show it to you because they've been hit with, or Stadia Source has been hit with a DMCA takedown request from Ubisoft saying, don't put this out there. So first off, Lloyd, what's your initial reaction?
Gods and Monsters is one of my most anticipated games, even though we know nothing about it. I think the art style that they showed off and everything looked really, really great. I think it's probably not a Google oops. It was probably some person that owns the publishing rights for the Ubisoft a dev kit and accidentally said, I'm uploading this demo to this server, and accidentally uploaded it to the production server, and then it was out there for everybody. And that guy had to go clean his shorts after, or his or her shorts after, when they realized what happened, because that is a really big oops. That said, E3 is supposed to be happening soon. What if instead of getting E3 presentations, we get E3 demos that are pushed to us? That's just another thought for future, where a bunch of companies say, hey, here's a 30-minute slice of our game. You can play it instantly on Google Stadia. That would be really cool. But anyway, back to the whole Gods and Monsters thing. I think it's pretty cool that it was released so people were able to jump in for a half hour. I was, I think, 10 minutes too late because they were like, hey, it's up on the Canadian store. You should go check it out. And I think I was 10 minutes too late to jump in and check out the game myself. But yeah, I think it's great that that Ubisoft is obviously still working on this game. And they say that it's going through a name change soon, and that they're planning to talk about that more this year. Hopefully that does mean that we are getting a Stadia version, since they showed it off, this demo running on Google Stadia.
Yeah, well, we knew that it was coming to Stadia, so
but it's changed. It's not Gods and Monsters anymore. It's changed to a different game. So with the change of a game's name and game's focus, sometimes the publishing ideals behind that game change as well. Maybe it's made specifically for PlayStation 5 because they signed a deal and they got a big money hat from Sony. Like, there's all these other potentials that could have happened. Thankfully, that does not appear to be the case.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. So just here is what Stadia said about this. They said, regretfully, on Thursday morning, we mistakenly made an E3 2019 demo version of Gods and Monsters from Ubisoft available on the Stadia store, and that was not intended for public play, a Google Stadia rep told Kotaku via email. A few hundred gamers were able to play it for less than 30 minutes. We sincerely apologize to our partners at Ubisoft for this mistake. So it does seem like it was somebody at Stadia that did that. And then Ubisoft posted this. They said, the footage is from our E3 2019 demo, which was shown to select press last June and is now over 1 year old. Much has changed since then in terms of features, tone, and art and character design, and even the name of the game. We are hard at work and very excited to finally show players what we have created at the end of the summer. So we probably won't hear anything about it in the next few weeks, around when E3 was supposed to happen, but at the end of the summer, we might hear some more. What do you think about the fact that, websites like Stadia Source received DMCA takedown requests for this. It's not like they were trusted with this information and then they leaked it. Stadia accidentally leaked it, and Stadia Source is reporting on it. What do you think about them getting a DMCA takedown request?
I hate that large companies use DMCA to do things like this, where through no fault of their own, someone had access to it. They didn't steal something. They didn't break into Ubisoft's office. They're not reverse engineering anything. It was available on their Stadia store. They hit buy, they hit play, they captured some content. It just shows that we really don't own any of the games that we buy now. It's we get a license to play these games, and they can be taken away from us at any time, and apparently litigated off the internet as well. If you don't adhere to the DMCA takedown, lawsuits would happen. I hate that, but that's kind of the world that we live in, sadly.
It is the world that we live in. I think that Ubisoft would be better, much, much better off if what they did, instead of hitting places like Stadia Source with a DMCA takedown, and Eddie didn't receive, like I was talking to him, he did not receive a DMCA takedown. He just deleted the tweet so that he wouldn't have to worry about it.
Right.
But and that's also why you don't see any footage of the game on my website, because I don't want to deal with that. But instead of doing that, what Ubisoft should have done instead is just do a live stream of what the game looks like now. Use this as an opportunity to build hype around your game. Let people see how far your game has come in a year. Show the old footage and then show the new footage, kind of like how Sven Vinke did with Baldur's Gate 3. He showed the old footage and showed the new footage, and it was like, see how much work we've done. and that's what Ubisoft should do instead. Instead of using lawyers, instead of swinging a giant baseball bat covered in lawyers around, and going after tiny little websites like Stadia Source or Eddie, or even this one, because guess what? When I talked about this earlier this week, there was a little tiny bit of the clip in my YouTube video, because it was on a website that I was looking at when I was talking about it. And so they could come after me if they wanted to, because technically I have stuff on my YouTube channel that is their copyright. But doing that look, when you are a giant corporation or somebody famous or something, and you're trying to erase something from the internet, you know what the internet usually does? They just start uploading it everywhere to try to say screw you to the man. So I don't think that it's in their best interest to do this. I think it's a bad idea.
Yeah, Please works way better than a DMCA strike.
Okay, just so you know, they did ask. Like they said, this is a DMCA takedown notice. It was not a strike against anybody that had done it. They sent a letter saying, please take this down.
Okay, well, there's an easier way to do it. Like I used to blog game related news back when I first started doing podcasting, and focusing on stuff on like the Sony PlayStation Portable and other things. And I've posted news or leaked things because it's been shared with me by someone, and I've received an email from the game manufacturer saying, "Hey, we'd appreciate you take that down." It was never accompanied by an official letter stamped with a lawyer that was using the DMCA to say, "Hey, take this down, or we'll take the next steps." So all I'm saying is that there's nicer ways to do it. Whether this was a strike or not, I'm not sure. You've talked with them, I haven't.
Yeah, I read the email.
I don't even want to get into that. It's just there's nice ways about it.
Yeah.
But it seems like these corporations just take the lawyerly way of doing it, which I guess makes sense because that's how you govern the rest of your business. But it just seems like a really hard or a big stick to use, when just a nice little, "Hey, could you take this down, please?" would have probably just done it just as well for them.
All right, moving on to Destiny 2. Destiny 2 got a bunch of new information that's coming out. I'm not going to touch on everything, but Destiny 2 is getting an expansion that's coming out later on this year. It's called Beyond Light. It says a new power is born out of the ancient pyramid ship above Europa, and a dark empire has risen beneath. In Destiny 2 Beyond Light expansion, Guardians will explore a changed universe with new destination, new adventures, and even more powers to explore, which sounds really, really cool. I ended up playing a little bit of Destiny 2 this week as well because I was interested to see, because there's also new stuff that's in the game now before the expansion comes. Have you played Destiny 2 at all in the last month or so?
No, I've found that games as a service just doesn't work for me. I just don't have enough time to devote to a game to access all this content. I did see a lot of hype on Twitter, and it made me look into it to see kind of what is happening. It's interesting. Like, they're planning some major sweeping changes and content additions to the game, which is great, and which just shows that Destiny is really in the hands of the developer, and there's no publisher getting in the way, because that was the big issue when Bungie split with Activision, right? They were with Activision Blizzard.
Yeah, they were.
They were basically being told, no, we want Destiny every year, and they're like, no, we have other plans for this. We don't want to do a new boxed copy every year. We want to add this other stuff. And because of all those fights, that's, I guess, part of the reason why the split happened. It really shows what a developer that owns the IP, owns the property, owns the stories, and they have the ability to then go out and tell those stories the way they want. It's I don't know, it's great. I'm really excited to see what comes out. I don't know how much of it personally I'm going to play, but I'm really happy for the Destiny community that they're going to be getting a lot of content they've been kind of begging for.
Right. In addition to the additions, there's also some subtractions that are happening with Destiny 2. So when Beyond Light ships, you are going to have access to Europa, Cosmodrome, the Moon, Tangled Shore, Dreaming City, European Dead Zone, and Nessus. But there's places that are in the game now that will be taken out. They're saying that they're vaulting them, kind of like the Disney Vault. So they're going to take out Mars, Io, Titan, Mercury, and Leviathan. So all 5 of those places will no longer be in the game. And I know, like, there's a bunch of people who are irritated that these things are being removed, but the reasoning behind it is that the game is huge and complicated, and having all of this stuff means that when all of this stuff is in the game, you have to make sure that when you make changes, you take all of that into consideration. So by taking those things out of the game, they're making it easier for them to make balance passes with the new stuff. And they said that some of that other stuff will come back in the future. So what I assume is going to happen is they're going to take that stuff out, push the new content, and then later on they'll be like, all right, we've reworked Mars to work with the new stuff that we're doing. So now we'll bring Mars back. And I think that that's a smart way to go about it, because otherwise they could cause like game-breaking bugs in certain parts of the game if they don't take that stuff out, or it would just make huge delays to everything. And then there's so this year there is an expansion. It's kind of weird that you were saying that there was some contention between Bungie and Activision about publishing a game every year.
No, what it was, there's stories that have been leaking out since I think Bungie's left Activision for 2 years now or something. Some date passed, and there was some blog posts about some of the early issues. And what it was Bungie wanted to release Destiny, then they wanted to update Destiny with new content and expansion passes and things for years. And Activision essentially said, no, we want new box copies. So we want Destiny 2 this year. We want Destiny 3 next year. We want Destiny 4 the year after. And Bungie's like, no, that's not how we want to do the game, according to stories that have been shared online.
All right. Kodiak Moonwolf says, I'm confused then. If they're removing some of the planets, are you going to have the new expansion still to play the game? I don't think so. They're not removing all of the planets. But Yeah, if you don't have the new expansion, then the amount of stuff that you can do will be limited. So that is definitely something to consider. And they're doing a new expansion this year, next year, and the year after. So that's kind of the same way Elder Scrolls Online does it. But yeah, I that's very interesting. It's weird because you buy this game, you bought Destiny 2, right? And then now you can't play parts of Destiny 2 because like Mars is no longer in the game. It's an interesting conundrum that is really tough to argue one way or the other, because I can understand both sides of the coin.
Yeah. Well, Bungie has always said that Destiny is an MMO, and this is a very MMO kind of thing. You have a big cataclysm that happens somewhere in your game world, and you can't access a specific dungeon or a specific thing for a period of time. So it feels very MMO-y for this. The content that you're losing access to, I'm sure, won't really impact you. There's so many other places where you can level up and do things like that. But yeah, it is kind of weird. You bought a game, a boxed copy of a game. You had access to all this stuff. Maybe your favorite thing was running around Mars and shooting this one particular random boss that would spawn, and now you won't be able to do that. So it's I don't know. It's pretty interesting. I want to see how this all develops.
All right, moving on. Stadia app hits 1 million downloads on Android. I don't have much to say about that other than cool. I wouldn't assume that means that every single one of those downloads is somebody who's using the service, because, I download apps more than once. I have them installed on, I've got apps installed on my iPad. I've got apps installed on my phone. So that's 2. And I'm just one person. And I'm sure that there's also a lot of people out there who download the app and then have never used it. I've done that a million times, where somebody recommends an app to me, I download it, and then I don't even remember what this is. I'm just going to delete it. So, 1 million downloads, that's a good milestone. I'm looking forward to hitting even more. And also keep in mind that we have no idea how many times it's been downloaded on iOS. iOS is far more popular in the States, and I think that Stadia is more popular in the States than it is outside of the States, because Google is such a US based country. So I would assume that there's quite a few people who use Stadia, but they don't use Android. And so I if I were to guess, I would say that there's probably been more downloads on iOS than there are on Android, just because Google is so US based, and the US is more popular for iOS. It's such a weird thing. We still can't play our games on iOS, though. You think that's ever coming, Lloyd?
I hope so. I think that Google in the near future is going to release the ability to play on iOS. Come on, Google, give it to us. Okay, we'll see if saying things like that turns out that in a couple weeks it'll just be a feature that we'll be reporting on.
All right, let's move on to the second part of the show, which we call Crowd Play. That's where we talk about everything that you guys want us to talk about, and we've had a whole bunch of people sending in super chats today. Or becoming members. So thank you very much for the support. Real quick, I want to say thank you to the new members. We've got Craig Meekin, Brand the Builder, Jem, Gary McDonald. Let's see, who else is new members? Dangle 25. So those are all new members. Thank you very much for becoming members and the support. And now let's hit the super chats. We've got Joel Thompson sent in a super chat without a question, but thank you very much, Joel, for the super chat. YDB Gaming sent in a super chat. They said, how is the future of Stadia is looking to you? So how are you feeling about Stadia so far, Lloyd?
I thought it was Stadia. It's like, I call it 6 months old. It's a little bit older than 6 months old, but it's been around for about a half a year. And we've seen it come from day one, where I had problems playing the Destiny on hotel Wi-Fi, but it was functional, and I'm like, oh my god, this is the future. to now where the service has matured a lot. We just talked about a new feature where you can have a touchscreen controls on your tablet or your phone. You can play it on any Android device essentially now. I feel it's evolved quite a bit. There's new features that are coming. We're going to be getting a lot of new features coming with new games that are coming out. I think it's doing well for a system that's only been around for about a half a year. I think there's a lot of stuff that they still need to do. Obviously, Google's not going to wait and just sit on their laurels and just and not talk about new features or implement new features. They're going to keep doing that, and that's kind of the beauty of the platform, is they can keep adding stuff and they don't have to worry about invalidating any hardware, because there's no hardware in your room. You have a Chromecast that accepts a YouTube stream essentially, so they can keep doing whatever they want and just make all these features available server side, which is pretty fantastic.
I 100% agree, and that is the reason that I'm super excited for Stadia, is because there is for the future, there's no more generational changeovers. I don't have to buy a console ever again if I don't want to, which is really, really awesome. Shrui, I apologize if I've pronounced that, and I apologize to anybody whose name I butcher. Shrui sent in a super chat. They said, "What games caught your eye at the PS5 reveal?" Lloyd?
Spider-Man.
I know it's not Stadia related, but guess what? Stadia is not in a vacuum. There's competition out there, so we can talk about this. What do you think, Lloyd? Anything jump out at you?
2 games. Spider-Man Miles Morales add-on for PlayStation 5 looks fantastic, what they showed, which wasn't much, but I'm excited for that. And Ratchet and Clank. I bought a PlayStation 3 because of Ratchet and Clank. I bought a PlayStation 4 because of Ratchet and Clank. I will buy a PlayStation 5 because of Ratchet and Clank. I love that franchise, and the new game looks just ridiculous.
I have never played a Ratchet and Clank game. I don't think I ever paid attention to a Ratchet and Clank game. But after watching that, I was like, oh, Ratchet and Clank looks really good. I'm very interested in that Ratchet and Clank game. I probably won't pick up Ratchet and Clank on my PS4, but, it might help sell me on a PS5, but it all depends on the price of the PS5, which we can talk about in a second. As far as what games jumped out at me, Ratchet and Clank was one that jumped out at me. The Miles Morales thing is not an add-on. That is a standalone game, even though there was a lot of confusion about that earlier this week. And then,
is it?
Yes, somebody, I don't even know who, somebody came out and was like, it's an add-on to the updated version of Spider-Man for the PS5, and then they came out again afterwards and said, no, it's a standalone new thing. It's its own thing.
It's like an expansion.
But they said it's not like an expansion.
Really? Because I was listening to the PS I Love You XOXO, and Greg was talking about some info he got directly from the developer, saying that it's going to be a small expansion on top of the main game. It's going to use all the assets from the main game, but it's going to be a smaller, say 10-hour thing for $40, something along those lines is what they were talking about.
Right. But I think what a lot of people don't understand is it does not, like, if you buy this, you don't get the rest of Spider-Man. Like the other Spider-Man game, you don't get that.
Right.
Like this is not an expansion. It's essentially a lower scope sequel.
Yeah, and that's what I was meaning by standalone expansion, where you could just buy it separately. Like the Infamous games, they had some standalone expansions that you could buy and play just that little chunk of content. So if that's what this is, I'm super excited about it, because I loved Spider-Man on PlayStation 4, and just be able to swing around as Miles Morales is going to be pretty darn cool.
And then the other game that got my attention was the Horizon sequel. That game looks just so good. I loved Horizon Zero Dawn.
It looks weird to me. It looks almost like it's like you're in some sort of like Candyland compared to the original one that was like really set in kind of like your modern worlds. Like it looked very much like the world we live in, except for the robot dinos running around like you're in an episode of Transformers. This one looks very different. Like they've taken kind of like the normal world that you're living in the first game, and then they've changed it, and they've kind of let their imagination run wild. So I'm really interested to see how that kind of plays out and evolves getting towards launch. I loved Horizon. The only issue with me playing Horizon is I played it after playing Breath of the Wild. And in Horizon, I couldn't walk up to a cliff and say, I want to climb this. So it's like, I can't even explore in this game. This is terrible. But at the end of the day, I really, really loved what Horizon was doing.
I think you and I had exactly the same experience, because I felt like I was incredibly limited by where I could climb, because you had to like find the yellow ledge or whatever it was where you could climb, which was very frustrating. All right, real quick, PS4. There have been retailers that have said that it's going to cost, and this has not been announced by Sony. All right. So this is rumor. It could just be a retailer throwing a number on there so that they can get somebody to pre-order things. But there have been retailers that have said that the PS5 will cost $700. Do you think that will have a net positive impact on Google Stadia?
1,000%. If the new console is going to cost me $1,000 up here in Canadian land, I am not going to be buying a PlayStation 5 at launch. I can't afford to spend $1,000 on a console. I will rather take that $1,000 and buy more games on Stadia, especially if the rumors of Stadia 2.0 are real, and that games that are running on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X dev kits run just as well on Stadia 2.0 blades is true. Obviously, we don't have any official news about that, but if that turns out to be true, and then I can buy a game on Stadia that looks just as good as the game would be on PlayStation 5, I'm just gonna be buying it on Stadia. I don't need to buy $1,000 console that's gonna be underneath my television.
Right. Or if it fits under your television. Did you see it?
Yeah. It looks cool. I thought we were getting rid of that kind of form factor when they got rid of the form and grill PlayStation 3, but I guess not. I think they must have struck a deal up with George Foreman again to do some design work on the PlayStation 5.
Yeah, I think it looks like a Wi-Fi router. I think that it's crazy to think that people will spend $700 without a game on a new console. However, we also have to understand that these things are really, really expensive to make, and selling them at that price is something that happens at the beginning, and then they will quickly drop the price down, like as they find ways to streamline production and make it cheaper. We'll get the PS5 Slim, which will cost a significantly less amount of money. So yep. I certainly wouldn't be buying one at $700. I think you're crazy to do so. Although maybe you have $700 laying around that you can spend on that. But I think that this is definitely going, like, if the Xbox and the PlayStation are that expensive, and we don't know for sure that they will be, but if they are, that would be a huge boon to Google Stadia. Well, you want to play this new game? Well, you have to spend $700 on a PlayStation, plus $60 on the game, and or you can just buy the game.
Yeah,
that seems like a kind of a no-brainer to me. If you've got the internet for it, go ahead.
I find it interesting that they're releasing a all digital version of the PlayStation 5 as well. So you don't need to buy one that has a disc drive in it. Still, even if they knock off $100, $600 US for a system that doesn't have the ability to play HD Blu-rays or 4K Blu-rays rather, is a stretch, I would say. So yeah, it'll be interesting. We always get prices before a console launch, and they're usually placeholder prices. Mm-hmm. I'm a little bit disappointed that Sony didn't say when the release date is and what the cost would be, but I don't think they wanted to beat Xbox in that regard. So if Xbox comes out and says the Series X is $400, Sony's going to be like, oh crap, we have to lose $300 per system sold. All right, it's $350, and because they want to get in front of all the hype that the Xbox would get for being such a cheap system.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's only speculation at this point. Jay Chussel22 sent in a super chat. They said streaming setting per profile default plus last played. I have no idea what he means. Do you understand what he means?
Yeah, we were talking about being able to set that when you played Borderlands, you always wanted at 60 frames a second, 1080p. So yeah, it'd be nice if we could have stream setting per profile. So if I have a user account or whatever, it has, this is my stream settings. But then also have a setting that would be like the last played you could choose when you start a game or something like that. That would be an interesting way to get around that.
Yeah, just remember what I did last time.
Yep.
That would be
Exactly.
awesome. And then you don't even have to have a setting. I set it the first time that I do it, and then it just remembers it forever. All right. Consigno sent in a super chat with no comment, as did Jonathan Grongle. That's a fun name. And then Ray Sherrod sent in a super chat, and they said, can we get an oops, we uploaded Cyberpunk 2077 by accident? That would be nice.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just responding to some people in the chat room that are saying, who buys physical media these days? Well, physical media can sometimes be a lot cheaper at launch. Like you can get a game for $20 less at launch than if you buy the digital version, just because of retailer sales. So I know a lot of people that still buy all physical stuff because they can get the games for a lot cheaper, either at launch or 7 months after launch. They can get the game for $20 instead of $60 that is still showing on the PlayStation Store, Xbox Store, Stadia Store, stuff like that.
Plus, we talk about this a lot. We're always talking about, oh, Stadia works great. It's awesome. It's fantastic. We have really good internet. Like, there's a lot of people who don't have really good internet. I'm a teacher, and I have students who, some of them have no internet at their house. So in order for them to play a game, they need to have a physical version of that game. I don't know how it works when somebody has no access to the internet and there's a day one update to a game. Like, I don't understand. Like, what do you do in that case? The day one update, like, is the game playable without the day one update? Because I always have internet and I don't have to worry about it. But that makes me nervous for people who don't have good internet or have metered bandwidth. You look at a game like Star Wars. What's the first person shooter? Battlefront. Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Right.
Okay. Star Wars Battlefront 2. Really good game, by the way. Got the short end of the stick because EA, like, they messed up big time. But that's a fantastic game. That game is, I think, 120 gigs to download. If you are on a metered bandwidth and you buy that game digitally, like, you can't even download that in a month. Like, you're not allowed to download more than that, or you get charged overages. So there's a lot of people who have that kind of situation, and so they would still want to have physical media. I'm not one of those people. I'm fine going digital. I don't care about physical media. But you have to always remember that even though, and a lot of us forget, even though we are all in on digital stuff, we're all in on game streaming, there's a lot of people who that is simply not an option for. And Lloyd and I have been saying this on this show for an exceedingly long time. Google Stadia is not for everybody, and that's okay. It's for the people that it's for, and it doesn't have to be for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. I was trying to remember, there was a game at the Switch, like shortly after the launch of the Nintendo Switch. I think it was the NBA game, but I can't remember, where the game that was shipping on the cartridge basically had one play mode out of like 7, and you could barely do anything. I think you could only play this team versus that team or something, like some ridiculous restriction. And if you wanted to actually play the game, you had to download like a 30 gig day one update download, where if you didn't have an SD card, you couldn't even do that. Like, I think it was the NBA game. I can't recall what it was. But I can't imagine living in that world where you go to the store, you buy a cartridge, you're excited to play it, and you can only play Bulls versus Spurs or something. And it's like, what the hell? I don't like any of those teams. I want to be, I don't know, whatever your favorite basketball team is or whatever it was. It's so crazy, but there are a lot of people that don't have internet these days. So day one updates are not a thing for them, and playing games on Stadia is obviously not for them.
Yeah, Art by Committee in chat says physical is also good for renting games like with GameFly or Redbox, and that's a really good point as well. A lot of people don't have the money to go out and buy every game that they want to play, but they can rent it. Lloyd's about to hold something up. What is it?
And this, hey Bill, I have this Xbox One version of Jedi Fallen Order. Do you want to buy it? $20. Here, I'll give it to you. $20.
That's true.
Transfer the license. You can't transfer digital licenses
That's
that
right.
way, which is another good feature for physical games.
That is, although a lot of publishers are, they're doing sneaky things to make it so that it's really hard for you to get much value out of it buying a used game, because some stuff only gets to be downloaded via some code or whatever, and it's just, I don't know. It's the landscape is changing. Jay Chussell 22 sent in another super chat. They said retail suggestion: Stadia light gun bundle with a shooter. Light guns, I don't know. What do you think, Lloyd?
I used to love light guns back in the day, but they're good for very arcadey type games. The light guns on modern TVs are a hack at best. I've been looking into that for like MAME cabinets and things like that, and trying to get a light gun working for those things. It's possible, but it's not very elegant. Getting a light gun on a modern TV for a modern console would be pretty interesting. I'd love to see a lot of the old arcade shooters come back. But yeah, on Stadia, I don't know if that would make sense just because of all the different screens you could play on.
Yeah. You imagine somebody holding up a phone and shooting at their phone.
Bang, 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 bang. Yeah. You would never miss, which would be a good thing.
That's true. I would like to see light gun games make a comeback. It would have to be very different technology, though, because the way that the old light guns work was a very specific way, and it does not work with modern TVs. But yeah, light guns. Bring back a light gun game. I would love to see a remake of Area 51. I used to love Area 51 in the arcade. Right. All right, Lloyd, it seems like we have reached the end of the show now that the super chats have ended. Thank you all for the support. You guys are fantastic. If you have not followed the show on Twitter yet, you can follow us at Stadiacast. You can follow me on Twitter at RunJumpStomp. You can follow Lloyd at Dasme. That's Dasme. Be sure to use the hashtag Stadiacast so that we can find your tweets. I did have a YouTube comment that I was going to talk about from Brian Fernald, but I just couldn't get to it because we had so much awesome support. So thank you guys for that. Join the Stadiacast Discord over at runjumpstomp.com/Discord. And while you're joining Discords, make sure you join Lloyd's community Discord over at res.tv/Discord. Alex, the Nerd Gamer, thank you for becoming a supporter. Thank you for the support. And finally, the music that you are about to hear is Subterranean Kamikaze by Zircon. You can check out their stuff over at zirconstudios.bandcamp.com. Lloyd, we'll see you later, man.
Yeah, see you later, Bill, and have a great week, everybody. We'll see you in Stadia Land.
Save. All right, and I have to put the music in later.
Put it in post.
That's right.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody, for coming out. 200 people watching. There was more than that at the highest. Appreciate each and every one of you for coming out and spending part of your Sunday watching us do the show.
That's a lot of people. If you guys could click the like button, that would be really rad.
Yeah, hit the thumbs up.
Yeah.
Hit subscribe if you aren't already subscribed as well.
That's right. It helps the YouTube algorithm to tell other people that this is a good show when you guys click on the like and subscribe and click on the bell. You won't sing the song? No.
I can't remember how the outro music goes. Otherwise I would. I'd happily sing it. If I can't remember what the intro song is now and what the outro song is now. I can't Lloyd sing the song. If I knew it, I would sing it.
Just sing us a song, Lloyd. Any song. I can't believe you did that.
That's Castlevania. That's the only song that popped in my head. Sorry, that's not the Stadia song. I look and entirely insane now that I'm watching myself on YouTube when I sing songs. So hopefully that doesn't find its way into another badly done YouTube screenshot. Ears bleeding.
Please, YouTube, give us the ability to clip like we can on Twitch.
Bad. I wouldn't sing anymore.
That's true. Alex, the nerd gamer, you buy the Intellivision Amico? Are you going to buy the Amico?
I am not going to buy the Amico.
I'm not either. It seems really cool, but
I did buy the Blaze Evercade though, which I really love.
That thing is huge.
If you like, yeah, it's like a PlayStation Portable.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
I've got this. I've got the Pocket Go, which is it's got emulators on it. Now the thing that Lloyd has in his hand is actually a cartridge-based system. So you buy cartridges for it, and then each cartridge has like some games on it, which is really, really cool.
So this is Namco Museum Collection 1. It comes with 11 games. It comes with and even better, you get the little cartridge that you can pull out.
It looks like an old Genesis thing. It's so cool.
It's really cool. It reminds me a lot of Sega Master System, which I had growing up. And then it even has a nice little color manual that has pictures and gameplay info on every single game that's included on the cartridge. It is incredibly cool. I love this system. I'm going to buy all the carts for the system, even if I don't really want to play those games, just because I love physical carts and physical media and all this retro stuff that is on there. It's really, really cool. And the other thing that you can do is if you have one of these little micro mini HDMI adapters for a regular HDMI card, you can actually just plug it right in the top and you can output it to the TV and play right on the device while it's connected on the TV.
Oh, that's awesome.
I love this little device, and it's super cheap. I think it's like $80 for the system, and each of the cartridges are $20 each, and they have anywhere from 2 to 20 games depending on what you have. I'm really blown away. I love this little system. I don't see it going very far, unfortunately. Maybe one more year of cartridges will come out, but I hope it has a long life.
Alakazam says, I'm interested in the Sony 3D headset. Okay, so that's for like their 3D sound and stuff, which sounds cool. I don't care about that even a little. Like, regular headphones are fine for me, but I've just never cared about 3D sound. Have you ever? Has that been something that you've been super interested in, Lloyd?
Before kids, I used to have a amp, all sorts of high-end audio equipment, expensive speakers, surround sound, and then I had kids, and I'm like, I can't have any of this stuff out because they're going to destroy it all. So none of my TVs have speakers hooked up to it through either a sound bar or an amp. Like I was audiophile guy that used to listen to high-end audio on expensive speakers, and then I'm listening to whatever the hell comes out of my TV now on the TV speakers. I've completely done a 180 just because I didn't want my kids to break any of my expensive audio equipment. So
and now you have a cat
anymore. And now I have a cat who's going to chew through cables and other things potentially. So yeah, I'm even less that guy now. But if I could get, I've tried surround sound headphones a lot. I've tried like the A20s, I think was like the early one that had like the little breakout box you connect to your consoles. I bought those. I've bought multiple. I have the Sony ones, the gold ones, which work really, really well. But surround sound to me using headphones is always hit and miss, and it's mostly miss. I don't think it's ever been a hit, just because the audio balance is never right. If Sony could get the balance right with these new 3D headphones, I will happily buy a set and I'll use them for everything. If I could plug it into like Stadia, I would connect it through Stadia that way, because I'd love to have really good surround sound, but I've just never found headsets that really work for me.
I have never. I have used surround sound headphones before, and I have never ever liked the way it sounds. It always just sounds more echoey. And doesn't like, it just doesn't sound like you would like. I always just think it sounds better when I just leave it as default. And
I always
go ahead.
Sorry, I thought you were done. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I kind of am. Go ahead.
The one thing that I hate about surround sound is when you're playing a video game and someone is in front of you talking, and then you turn your head just like 5 degrees. All of a sudden you can't hear them because your left ear isn't pointed at them and your right ear is pointed away from them, I guess. So you can't hear their audio unless you look away from them or look directly at them. Like the balance is just, it's never been good. I've never found a good surround sound headset that I've liked. The closest was the Sony Gold headphones, which work really, really well. But at the end of the day, if these the 3D headsets are better, and if I can plug it into everything that I do, not just my PlayStation 5 that's going to cost me $1,000, I might actually pick that up.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Well, I think it's time for Lloyd and I to go. Thank you very much for hanging out. I may do a stream. I may do an open mic later on this week. I'm not positive if I have the opportunity to do so. I have to drive for like 4 hours to go get an X-ray for the Veterans Association. So like that's gonna kind of ruin one day out of the week, and then this is also the last week that I have students, so I'm going to be really, really hyper focused on them. But I'm going to try and do an open mic later on this week. Jay Chussel 22 does not want us going anywhere. He says, retail suggestion, trying again, Rock Band. Oh God, no. Well, I mean, I'm fine with Rock Band for other people, but I don't want that plastic garbage in my house.
I wish that we could get a really good just Guitar Hero game. I don't need drums and everything else. I just want like a really good Guitar Hero game with a really good guitar that you could plug into your like wirelessly into Stadia. Oh, that would be so good. I love Guitar Hero so much, and I know there's like there's open source versions that you can plug in like PlayStation 3 Guitar Hero guitars into and play all these songs, but I'd love to have just something wirelessly on Stadia that I can jump into. But then Stadia would have to start selling Wi-Fi guitars, and I don't ever see Google doing that. But yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, you know what I would prefer is if instead they just make a way for us to hook up a regular guitar. And
that's what is the name of that game? There was a game that did that.
Right. Sound something. I can't remember the name.
My buddy is so into it. Or he was at the time. A Rocksmith.
There you go.
He played a hell of a lot of Rocksmith. And yeah, that was really cool. For me, someone that would love to learn how to play guitar, I was too scared to buy it, thinking that it would just be a waste of money. So I didn't buy into it, even though apparently it's really good at teaching you how to play guitar, like real actual guitar. But yeah, never ended up picking that one up.
Yeah, I want it to be able to hook up my ukulele, because I have an electric ukulele on the wall. You guys can't see it, but I have an electric ukulele on the wall over there. I would love to be able to plug that in and play with real instruments.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah.
It came with the hat, right? The hat that you're wearing came with the electric ukulele?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought it
Although this is a Canadian hat, Lloyd.
Oh, is it?
Yes, I bought it when I was in not Toronto, some other Canadian place that I can't remember the name of it. But my wife and I were on vacation there, and I went into a hat store, and I saw this, and I said, I have to buy it, because I love,
nice.
As a bald guy, you have a lot of hat options. Because your hat does not mess up your hair. So I've got lots and lots of hats.
That's awesome. One other streaming update, because of all the crap that was happening last week and I didn't touch anything, I'm still planning to do a Little Nightmares stream, and I'm currently targeting Tuesday. I have to move a couple things around, and if I can get everything moved around, I will be doing a Little Nightmares stream on Tuesday. Feel free to come out and scare the hell out of me if you want, or laugh at me for jumping in my chair. I'm happy at that. As soon as I have everything solidified, I will schedule the stream in advance, so you'll know what's happening, because there'll be a scheduled stream set up for that game.
Awesome. All right. See you, everybody.
Later.